back to the GSL Super Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and nerd ballers. I just wanted to use that term. I never used the term nerd baller on cast before, but it's a term that's becoming popular, and there are some nerd ballers out there. The best is one of them. I wanted to, I know we've got an awesome game coming up next with Marine King, but I want to talk a little bit about that last game. The reason why you can do stuff like that awesomely in StarCraft 2, and a lot of Zerg players want to say, well, it's not that awesome, is because mules and Thors exist. Without the Thor, the one strong unit that you can keep alive, it's like a hero unit almost. None of that would have been possible. The Banshees, of course, came into play. But the biggest reason why that was able to work was because of the Mule. Without the Mule, he would not have had enough economy to keep making those Banshees. He brought all his SCVs. He had like 2 SCVs at home, and then the Mule just killed them. So it was kind of a weird situation. I felt like if Min had kept his Mutas at home and took out the dropship that Thor was in, it would have been kind of risky. But if he could have sniped that dropship, the Thor wouldn't have been able to lift, and then all the Zerglings would, of course, eventually clean up that Thor. So that was an intense game. All right, we're going to do our little player introductions here. GSL Revival, ranked 62nd at the GSL here. Currently in Code B, did not make it. He lost in the round of 32 last season. Unfortunately, did take out OGS and Snare and MarineKingPrime, both of them 2-0 victories. Shows some awesome Burrowed Roach timings against Hongan. Hongan, a very predictable player these days, so was able to crush through his strategy, basically blind countering it 2 games in a row. So he's taken out some Code S players in the way here on the Super Tournament, but he himself is, of course, not even in Code 8, so there are a lot of players like that here at the Super Tournament. I feel like this guy is one that you will see a lot more of, unlike players like the Best, where I said if he loses, you might not see him for a while. I think this guy you definitely will. Now his opponent is... He is actually going to be shown now. There he is, the King of Marines. For those of you guys who didn't know he was playing today, his GSL ranking is 4th. You know why? Because he is a big-time runner-up. He has been a runner-up several times, getting smacked down by MVP both times, but this time MVP is already out. So can he himself make it to the finals and take the finals this time? He said in interviews he plans to take away his title of being the Silver King. He wants to win this time. He took out Ace and Squirrel, 2 good Pro Osses on his way here. But taking out Pro Osses isn't going to count for much when you're playing against a Zerg player like Revival. Now remember also, as matches further than this go, there's only one more Pro Oss in this tournament, Alicia, and he may never even have to face him. So his matchup, his Terran versus Pro Oss was kind of weak in the past, but now he's been showing it very strongly. And in fact, here, let's take a look at some of those results. You can see some of the Pro Osses he's beaten. Now, Revival versus Terran recently, he's got a pretty good win rate, 66.7. That's pretty impressive. Marine King, of course, 83.3% though, puts it to shame. Not only that, but I mean, it's 2-1 is 67, so that's not that many games. 10-2 in recent games, though, for Marine King versus Zerg. He's won 83.3%. That is a pretty ridiculous win rate. So, I think that Marine King has got a pretty good advantage here. He's definitely the favorite to win this game. Revival may be able to take some games off of him, may be able to win the series, but it's not going to be easy. He's going to have to roll up his sleeves. Look at him there, rolling up his sleeves. He's got to get ready. The maps are going to be Tal'Darim Altar, Crevasse, and Xel'Naga Caverns. Now, Terminus Re and Belshire Beach were the maps eliminated here. Interesting that a Zerg player would eliminate Terminus Re. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable against Marine King's late games or wants to eliminate that. Now, Belshire Beach is a map that Terrans have historically done badly on, and Zergs have historically done well on. And it's, there's not a lot of history behind it. It hasn't been out that long, but I think it was a smart choice from Marine King to eliminate that map. Terrans do kind of struggle there. The countdown has started. Who's going to take game 1? Will it be TSL Revival or will it be Marine King, the favorite to win this series? We're going to find out. The map is Tal'Darim Altar. I am Wolf. This is the GSL, and we are in the round of 16. Which one of these players will advance to the round of 8?
GSL Revival versus MarineKingPrime.WE.
All right, down here at the bottom left, we have a player on the team TSL. One of the last ones, if not the last one left in this tournament. Can he make a
TSL Revival?
Talk more about that later, about TSL. His opponent at the top position here needs little introduction. He is known as the King of Marines, or said differently, he is...
MarineKingPrime.WE.
Got a lot of fans in the audience screaming and cheering him on. There's a girl in here that always comes and cheers him on. I see her in here. It's always good to have fans. And it's always good to be a fan, too. Remember that LG Cinema 3D, Intel, and G-Skill are responsible for making this awesome tournament happen. Now, this is a pretty huge map, so most likely we're going to see pretty macro-oriented styles from these two players. We're not going to see anything like we saw from the best. I mean, we could. It's very unlikely. Well, obviously, we're not really going to see anything like we saw from the best because he hasn't taken any gases yet. And it looks like he's actually going to go for a command center first. He's pulling a lot of minerals, going for 14cc. Like we saw, he's actually going to wall off with it rather than placing at the front, which is pretty smart. Sometimes you can just lose games if you don't. Now, Hatchery first does go down for Revival as well, into Pool, of course. Pretty normal Zerg versus Terran build on this map. The command center first isn't that normal. You don't see that very often, but it's becoming more and more common as Terrans are kind of figuring out how to do it. So it's going to take Revival a little while to scout. Actually, he's scouting cross positions first. No, actually, that's a super fast drone scout. He sent his drone scout out really fast. So he's actually going to see his opponent right away here, which is going to be really helpful for him to know. That means he can drone like a madman when he sees this. Alternately, he could be really aggressive and try to punish him for doing this. But most likely, he's just going to drone like a madman. He may actually kill this SCV. Just barely doesn't. SCV was repaired there. And the drone has to leave. SCV is looking out for each other, repairing each other. Always good to see. Double gas is going up immediately for Marine King, even before he got his orbital made. Pretty normal timing on that, though, when you go for this type of super fast command center. Now, I was going to say, what are we going to see Revival do? He made a Roach Warren. Now, if I remember correctly, he actually, when he played against Ensnare, when Ensnare did a really fast expand, but it was a gasless expand. It wasn't a fast expand this fast. But he made a Roach Warren and immediately put on pressure with the Roaches before the Siege Tanks were out and did a lot of damage. Now, we could see him do something like this again. Notice Revival hasn't even transferred his drones over there. He's not making any more drones. I think he's going to make like 5 Roaches and attack Marine King. And when Marine King doesn't have that many units, if Marine King isn't prepared, if he doesn't have a bunker, it's going to be very difficult for him to deal with this. Even if he does have a bunker, it's going to be difficult. You know why? Because he's making a reactor right now on that barracks. That means he's not going to have any Marines out, minus the one that he made initially. He's not going to have any additional Marines out to deal with this. When that reactor finishes, he's going to switch. That means even less Marines coming out. And if you've got Hellions, reactored Hellions coming out, when like 5 Roaches hit your base, your first 2 Hellions come out, that's not something you want to have happen. You actually can't beat the Roaches, and oh, he's going to get totally blocked here. Well, that could have gone a lot better for Revival. But is that a wall off? No, it's not. Revival could have actually taken so much more advantage of that situation than he did. Does kill 1 Marine and even gets the SCV. He's still inside of here. Bunker going down here for Marine King. Does he realize what's happening? I'm not sure he does. The barracks will land. 2 Hellions will come out. But is he going to even have any units to put inside of the bunker? The Hellions are going to try to buy him time. But if the Hellions get put back up against the wall, of course, they're not going to be able to out-micro these Roaches. Revival should just ignore those Hellions for now. And indeed he will, at least until he gets to the wall. 2 more Roaches, remember, are following this up. He's going to want to target down this bunker before it finishes, but it is going to finish. And he does catch those Hellions. Oh, could have killed them, but decided not to. He wants to go for the bunker instead. Now he's kind of in a tough spot. He doesn't really want to target down that bunker, at least he shouldn't. Kind of weird that he's going to go for it. Because this SCV is repairing, and he just doesn't have enough DPS to do that. A little bit indecisive there by Revival. Banshee is on the way, and that's really going to start mopping things up here. Marine King does repair everything, leaves those SCVs there just in case, and basically, Revival is kind of going all in with this. Oh, he lifted at the worst possible time, and here come the Roaches, and the Zerglings are coming in here, and uh-oh, Marine King is in trouble now. That's the last thing he should have done, lifting at that moment. I know he wanted to get siege tanks out, but did he want it that badly? I don't think so, and the bunker does fall, and now there are tons of Roaches in here. The Marines will fall. Zergling is coming in as well, and I think Marine King is going to die. The Banshee will come out, and when the Banshee comes out, that's going to be very helpful, but she has got a long way to come, and all of the SCVs, in fact, all of them but 6 of the SCVs are dead. So even if the Banshee comes out and holds this, Revival, he hasn't really gone all in with this. He was going almost all in to where, I mean, he made so many roaches that it was almost all in, but he actually has started droning back at home behind this. He's got his natural up and running, and so he's just going to be way ahead from here. And he wanted to target down that tech lab, but decided to go and shoot at the supply depot instead. May get a few more of these SCVs. Indeed he will. Right now it's 41 drones to 4 SCVs. After Revival realized he was going to do a ton of damage, he just stopped making roaches entirely and made only SCVs. I mean, drones. If he started making only SCVs, he would be cheating. Alright, so Marine King does have 2 command centers. He's got the ability to drop double mules, and he can make twice as many SCVs as he would normally if he didn't have that. So that's going to be pretty useful. He even has this Banshee, which can help him a lot, but there's no denying that he is extremely behind. It's like the extreme games, except it's how far Revival is. It's that extreme. It's like if Revival doesn't win this game, he's just going to get up and go like snowboard and skateboard and go on a half pipe and stuff. Remember that Spore Crawler there is going to be quite deadly. Marine King has to be very careful. He's not researching Cloak. Just wanted to get those Banshees out. He just doesn't have the economy to support Cloak. So a little bit rough for him to try to get that. He's going to try to make a 3rd command here. That's actually pretty smart. I like that. It's a risk he's going to have to take in order to really come back here. It's going to allow him to build more SCVs, and of course, he's going to be able to get pretty good saturation once he gets that SCV count up. And additionally, more mules. Nice Banshee control here. Revival only has 1 queen. Now the 2nd queen joins in. And he doesn't have enough for transfuse. Unfortunately, that queen will fall. But there's another one joining in. 71 supply right now for Revival to 38 supply of Marine King. He's catching up relatively quickly, but 52 drones to 15 SCVs. That's the real story here. Sacks an Overlord to see what's going on. He sees there's not a whole lot going on. He's not going to be able to see that 3rd command center. Actually, I take it back. Does the Overlord on the edge see it? I'm going to check that. He does, in fact, see that command center. So that's one small victory for, or well, actually, that's one big victory for Revival. One small problem for Marine King. The Spore Crawler has been repositioned nicely. Now, remember that Revival hasn't actually made a 3rd base yet, so he's not as ahead as he could be. He's just making a ton of drones right now. He's actually fully saturated. These queens should have enough for a transfuse. Doesn't do it, though. Oh, it's the wrong queen that had enough energy, that's why. And that Banshee most likely will be thwarted. Yeah, Banshee got to get out of there. So 3 command centers up from Marine King. He's going to make 3 SCVs at a time. And with 3 orbital commands dropping mules, it's basically like having a 2-base economy. That's basically what it's like. You don't have the gas, but here's the thing, though. Revival, he's got mutas coming out. He's got 7 mutas out. He's making that 3rd hatchery now that he's getting a little aggressive, and there's no real easy way for Marine King to take that 3rd base. He's even going to make Banelings up here. And Marine King just doesn't have the army. He took some risks, like I said, to try to get his economy back up, and his economy is basically the same as Revival's right now. But it's just not going to be enough if that economy just hasn't really come full swing yet. He doesn't have enough units. Goodbye, Viking. And Revival is going to run into with these Banelings here pretty soon. Remember, this is a pretty tight wall up for Marine King. There's no weak spot in this wall off. The reactor and the tech lab are hidden back behind the barracks in the factory. And of course, the command center has 1,500 hit points. That's not going to be an easy target to destroy. Even if he doesn't attack here, though, he's buying, or, you know, he's getting that 3rd base up, and Marine King is just losing time, essentially, as this goes on. Now he's just going to target what he can with these mutas, trying to avoid marine fire. Stim is not done. It's only halfway done. And here he goes. Actually, he found that there was an opening. So there was a weak spot after all. And this may be it. There are just too many Banelings. That hole in the wall may have sealed the deal. The tanks are going to get cleaned up by mutas. Even more Banelings trying to roll in. SCV is going down very quickly. There's only 2 Marines left. And a 3rd one. The mules drop. And the GG is said. Revival takes game 1 with some awesome roach aggression, reacting to what his opponent was doing. Took that win.